Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Dr. Sin. In this episode, we are going to discuss about hernia, and we have with us Dr. Parveen Bhatia, who is going to tell us more about it. Let us welcome him to the program. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
First of all, we would like to know more about you.
More about me. I am Dr. Parveen Bhatia and I am chairing the Institute of Minimal Access, Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery at Sir Gangaram Hospital, New Delhi. Plus, I am having my own hospital called Bhatia Global Hospital and Endosurgery Institute, that too at New Delhi. It is a totally dedicated hospital to laparoscopic surgery or endosurgery. And we have been doing the laparoscopic work right from 92 onwards, and we specialize in hernias and bariatric surgery. And now we are having the Institute of Robotic Surgery in Gangaram Hospital, where we fix the robotic method and do lot of robotic bariatric surgery for obesity.
What is hernia?
Hernia is a content coming out of the abdominal wall. If something is protruding out, that is called as hernia.
Okay.
I can give you a simile that, for example, if there is a tire, and if the tire gets ruptured somewhere, then the tube which has been filled with the air, that starts coming out, and that ultimately is a defect, and the tube, the content which is coming out is called as hernia. So one has to make sure that this kind of hernia can be present in the inguinal region, in the umbilical region, or it can be on the previous incisions, and then it is called as incisional hernia.
Okay. Where do hernias occur usually?
Yeah, hernias can occur at those points which are weak points. Because of the weakness of the muscles give way at that point, maybe because of constipation, because of chronic cough, or because of excessive intra-abdominal pressure. So they give way, and that can lead to weakness, and that leads on to hernia formation. And that can be, as I mentioned, that it can be at the umbilical area, so that is called as umbilical hernia. If it is at the inguinal region, then it is inguinal hernia or femoral hernia, especially common in femoral hernia is common in females. And then incisional hernia, because of previous maybe cesarean sections, maybe because of previous surgeries, if the weakness is there, then that can lead on to incisional hernia. Then there can be some situations in which the internal hernias occur, in which the organs go from one place to another, and that is called as, for example, hiatus hernia or internal hernia. So these are different types of herniation which can occur.
Okay. What about the symptoms? What are the symptoms?
Usually the symptoms are having a bulge, having a swelling, and that's it. No pain is there. Most of the times, most of the patients come to us and tell us that, doc, why should I go and get the operation done? I don't have the pain. But I always tell, it is better to sweat in peace rather than bleed in war. In the sense that if this defect has the intestines got stuck in, and if intestines get stuck in, that can lead on to lot of problems, lot of challenges, maybe vomiting, maybe non-passage of stools and distension of abdomen. So if it gets obstructed or if it gets strangulated, it can become life-threatening.
Okay.
So one has to be cautious about that. So we should not ignore the disease. We should get it fixed whenever it is diagnosed.
Are hernias hereditary?
Yes, hernia can be hereditary to some extent. I would say that it is multifactorial. It cannot be that any father will have any son and who is having hernia, all the sons will be having hernia. No, but definitely because of the collagen deficiency, there is something in the abdominal wall that is called as collagen. So if the deficiency is there, then hernia chances are there, and it can be hereditary. But otherwise, as I mentioned, when it occurs in 1 month old child, or it can occur in 80 years old man also. So it all depends on how much is the intra-abdominal pressure. If the intra-abdominal pressure is increasing, then the chances of hernia formation are more.
What are the advice you usually give to the patients before the surgery is done?
Yeah, we always tell them, it is better to sweat in peace rather than bleed in war. Means when it has been diagnosed that you are having a hernia, then it is a good idea to go in to a surgeon, get it repaired as early as possible. It is not an emergency, it is not an urgency, but still it should be fixed once for all. Because if, for example, if you are traveling or if you are traveling by air and if it gets stuck, then it can become life threatening. So one should not wait for those challenges or those problems and then ultimately get it rectified, because if we get it fixed in the cool phase, then the chances are that we'll be able to do it with laparoscopic method. Whereas if it is having complications, if it is obstructed, strangulated, then one has to go in for open surgery, and that open surgery definitely has lot of, I would say, morbidities. It takes longer time to recover, it has more pain, patient complains of recurrences, the chances of recurrences are more as compared to keyhole surgery or laparoscopic surgery.
For how long does the patients have to be hospitalized?
Just for one night. Patients have to be hospitalized just for one night, because most of the times we are able to fix up the hernia with the help of a mesh. There is a square synthetic material which is available and that gets incorporated into the body. So we just fix it onto the right side or onto the left side or in the umbilical region with the help of fixing devices, tackers, sutures, and once we investigate the patient, if everything is okay, pre-anesthesia checkup is okay, we admit the patient early in the morning, same very day we operate, and within 24 hours the patient is able to go home. And that is a beauty. And most of the times we have operated on large number of doctors, we have operated on large number of surgeons who have been able to start their work on day 2 or day 3. So it is having an excellent recovery because the tissue trauma is less. In laparoscopic surgery, we are not giving a long incision. We are making a very small puncture of 5 millimeter, and we are rolling in the mesh and pushing the mesh in, so that ultimately the recovery is excellent. The recurrence rate is reduced to 0 and the pain is not there. So that is the reason that patients are done laparoscopically and they are done under general anesthesia, and it is only a one night stay.
Will weightlifting cause hernia?
Yes, good question. Will the weightlifting cause hernia? Yes, it can. As I mentioned, that if the intra-abdominal pressure is increasing, that can lead on to rupture if it is done wrong way. If it is done in an abrupt manner. For example, if somebody has jerks, he lifts the weight which his body cannot withstand, and then jerky movements are there, those jerks can be responsible for tearing away the muscle. And if the muscle gets torn away, then the hernia occurs, and then one has to fix it with the mesh.
What kind of anesthesia is given for the patients before the surgery is done?
Yeah, once the patient is anesthetically, surgically, physically, cardiologically free and fit, then we place any and every patient of laparoscopic hernia repair has to be done under general anesthesia. It has to be general anesthesia. The patient is given IV injections, intravenous injections, and then put to sleep, and all laparoscopic surgery are done under general anesthesia. Whereas if we are doing open surgery, then one can do under spinal anesthesia. That means upper half of the body is not paralyzed and lower half is paralyzed for 2 hours or 3 hours, and then it recovers. Or there have been some situations in which, for example, the patient is 90 years old, 80 years old, and if we are going to do the open hernia repair, then we can do it under the local anesthesia effect also. So laparoscopic surgery, general anesthesia. Open surgery, spinal anesthesia or local anesthesia.
Okay, what are the advice you give to the patients once the operation is over?
Once the operation is over, we ask them to get mobilized as fast as possible. In the sense, usually, normally, for example, if we operate in the morning, in the afternoon, we ask our nurses, our technicians to make them mobilize, doctors to make them mobilize so that they feel confident. And once they feel confident, and once that cycle of pain, if at all, if there is a small pain, if that cycle is broken, they have more confidence. Then they can roam around, walk around. Initially, 30 years back, when we used to do open hernia repair, then we always used to tell the patients not to climb the stairs, not to lift the weight, not to drive, and so many don'ts were there. But today we always tell them you can drive. The next very day, you can use the stairs, climb up as well as climb down the next very day, and then you can do the weight lifting also. I am not saying go for the heavy weight lifting, but you can lift the weight. You can lift your children or grandchildren the next very day. So they can go back to their work on day 2 or day 3. That is the biggest advantage of laparoscopic surgery or keyhole surgery or band-aid surgery or small hole surgery or minimally invasive surgery, which we call it as. And on day 7, we call them back just to remove the dressings. There are no stitches applied. There are no clips or staples which are applied which have to be removed. So what I mean to say, our endeavor is to make the event an experience. And it has to be one event. It has to be uneventful event rather than eventful event. So as the patient has the experience, has a nice experience, no pain, recovery is faster, definitely the chances of other patients also getting convinced from him are far better. And that has been our experience, that the surgeons, doctors whom we have operated on, they are able to join their work on day 2, day 3.
Okay, what is the actual cost for the surgery?
Yes, cost is always a difficult question to be asked. In the sense, the cost can be different in Delhi, can be different in Cochin or some other places, but ultimately, all said and done, the mesh itself has the cost, and the fixating devices, the tacker or the stapler, definitely it has a cost which is universal, which we strongly say that we are not going to compromise. We use the meshes or the tacker of the companies which are the same companies which are supplying the equipment in US. So ultimately, we do not compromise on the cost of the mesh or the quality of the mesh. We give the best possible mesh, the best possible fixating device, and it can be varying from, for example, if it is a inguinal hernia repair, the mesh can be around 3,000 rupees. But if it is a ventral hernia repair, if it is an umbilical hernia repair, the mesh can be 38,000 rupees. And the fixating device is around 16,000 rupees. So, and the total cost, to my mind, if it is done in a single bed rooms, then it is around 50 to 60,000 rupees, and it can vary. If it is a ventral hernia or if it is incisional hernia, that can go up to 1.25 lakhs also. But ultimately, I always tell my patients, I always tell other surgeons in all the workshops throughout the world which I do, that you should be bothered about the cost which patient will have to incur if it gets recurred, if it gets infected. So one should always aim that one event, full stop, one wife, 2 children, one marriage, one event. That's it. And that is why people are ready to spend at that point for the best possible mesh, for the best possible tacker, and bear the cost so that they don't have to spend again and again and again on the same kind of hernia. In open surgery, we had this kind of problems, that many times these patients will have hernia recurrences again and again.
So there can be some challenging situations, right? What are those?
In hernia repair also, there can be challenging situations. For example, if the patient is morbidly obese, if the patient is weighing 140 kg, 170 kg or 270 kg, and if the patient has hernia, then we would definitely advocate that he or she should go in for obesity surgery first, get the weight reduced, maybe around 50-60 kg, and then maybe after 4 months or 6 months or 8 months, then we fix the hernia with the mesh. It should never ever be combined. If we are doing the gastric bypass or if we are doing the sleeve gastrectomy for obesity, then we should not combine it and place the mesh along with, because as I mentioned, if the mesh gets infected, then the cost will jump like a cascade and the complications will be there. So we should always aim for fixing one problem at a time rather than many problems at one time.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Doctor,
Thank
for
you
being
very
a part
much.
of our program.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was Dr. Parveen Bhatia with us. Until we meet next time, this is me, Naina, signing off. Take care.